There's been a lot of talk about the New York Mets so far this season, but one thing that hasn't been talked about a lot is the number one prospect, who, according to MLB Pipeline, is now the number one prospect in baseball. We're going to talk about Fransisco Alvarez, the Mets' number one prospect. He is a catcher. Very interesting, very good bat, good arm behind the plate. Does need to refine his pitch framing, get a little bit better with that. Also, become a little bit better with his arm. A very strong arm, but needs to become, I guess, a little bit more consistent with it. And accuracy-wise, kind of become more consistent with it, throwing a second, get it quicker. But very, very promising. Looks like he can, even with just the bat, he'd be an interesting prospect alone. But hey, the fact that he's a catcher makes it 10 times even more interesting. We're going to cover him right here on Bleacher Brawls on this prospect pipeline. My name is Derek. This is the Fransisco Alvarez prospect pipeline, and let's get straight into it. Fransisco Alvarez is only 20 years old, but he's already the number one prospect in baseball according to MLB Pipeline. He's probably in everyone else's top fives. He is currently in AAA with the Syracuse Mets, but I'll just go through the stats to start. 2019 overall, between in rookie ball, he hit 312, the 917 OPS in 42 games, and that included 10 double 7 homers. In 2021, between low A and high A, he hit 272 in 99 games with a 942 OPS, and he also had 24 homers. And then this year so far, between Double A and Triple A in 89 games, 258 with the 892 OPS, and he has 23 home runs. He struggled in his 22 games in Triple A so far, just 195, but he has a 796 OPS with a 195 average. 5 homers in Triple A already. And Double A is hitting 277 with a 921 OPS. That was 67 games. And with that, 16 doubles, 18 homers. He had 36 strikeouts, 71 strikeouts. His strikeout a lot, but he also drew his fair share of walks. Fransisco Alvarez, what makes him interesting is he's good behind the plate as well as very good at hitting. He's good behind the plate and at the plate. His pitch framing does need some more work, but it does for every young catcher. That's not a problem. His scouting grades on MLB Pipeline on the 2080 scouting scale, 60 hit, 65 power, 40 run, 60 arm, 50 field, overall 65. The run doesn't matter. He's a catcher, or he might end up at DH if the Mets already have or want to trust James McCann's defense. And you're not worried about the run. Hit, power, arm, and field are the most important ones, and he has definitely 3 of them. The one that's worse is the field, but it's still average. You like that a lot from him. The Mets, obviously, they signed him for $2.7 million in the 2018-2019 international signing period from Venezuela. Obviously, that is Alvarez, and boy, it was a good signing. Even if he didn't play catcher, which is a premium position, he'd still be a highly ranked prospect because of his bat. And his profile will get a boost because he plays behind the plate. But his bat has been so good, was so good in Double A. They were talking about maybe calling him up to the big leagues to DH down the stretch. That's crazy. That's high praise to have for someone who's only in Double A. Have him jump to the big leagues in DH on a team that's contending for a World Series. That's crazy. But that shows how good his bat is. It's obviously struggled in AAA, but it's only 22 games in AAA. That's less than a month. No concerns there. It's early, and his OPS is very high for someone with a 195 average. I mean, yeah, he's hitting 195 in AAA. Okay, so he's got a 354 on base and a 442 slugging for a 796 OPS. 796 OPS doesn't sound amazing, but he essentially has an 800 OPS with a sub-200 batting average. That average goes up, that OPS is going to shoot up as well. He's fine. Don't worry, no worry, he's going to worry at all. Obviously, as a catcher, he's not a stolen base threat. That doesn't matter. The only big thing is look at right now is strikeouts. If he keep the strikeout numbers down a little bit more, that'd be cool. That'd be perfect. But he's still drawing his fair share of walks, so it's not it's not a massive concern. There's not a lot of concerns around him. And considering the fact he plays a premier position in catcher, that's huge for the Mets. Even if he somehow doesn't work at catcher, slide to first or at the very least DH. And with Nationally now having a DH, there's that option. He's got a very, very bright future ahead of him. And, that's great for the Mets and great for him. Now, when I'm talking about his future, it will be at catcher. I 100% truly believe it will be at catcher. and he will have a bright future there for a long time. He's one of those guys where it seems like he will be an all-star catcher, not if. It's not a matter of if he will be an all-star catcher. It seems more like a matter of when he will be an all-star at the catcher position. That's how highly ranked of a prospect we're talking about here. It's not a matter of if, but when he'll become an all-star in the big leagues. Very promising future. You gotta love it if you're a Mets fan. Top catching prospect in baseball when there's a lot of good catching prospects in baseball. And, he's cream of the crop. Obviously, Adley Rutschman isn't a prospect anymore, so he's the number one catching prospect. Alvarez is. But, yeah, massive status. He could be. I feel like he does have the potential to hit for 30 home runs from the catcher spot and still, hit for average. He has potential to be one of the top catchers in baseball. Hit for a decent average, hit for power, do it all, be solid behind the plate. Pitch framing will improve, and if the automated strike zone comes in, the robo comes in, you're not going to need pitch framing anyway, so that's not even going to be a concern. It's just going to be about throwing runners out, which he can do. Super, super bright future for Alvarez. My only personal concern with him, 5'10", 233, it's a little bit on the bigger side. I mean, it's not like a concern. I'm not worried about it, but it's something to just keep an eye on. You don't want him to get too big. But I'm pretty sure he has it under control. So it's not I shouldn't call it a concern. It's just hey, just be careful. We don't need him necessarily getting any bigger. But yeah, he's going to be a bright spot for the Mets for the future. They have him with Lindor locked up for a long time, and all their other guys that have locked up forever, or that they will get locked up. Pete Alonso, though, they're going to lock up for a long time eventually. I mean, they have to. And with all the money the Mets have, Fransisco Alvarez is going to get a massive triple digit in the millions, 9-digit contract extension at some point. It'll be over $100 million when he gets that massive contract extension. That's how confident I am in his ability. Him and Adley Rutschman, I think, are going to be the two first catchers to sign $100 million+ extensions because they're young and good. And that's what that's going to get you. He's going to be a massive part of the Mets' future, and just as a baseball fan, I cannot wait for it. The last thing to bring out about Alvarez is his MLB ETA. It's very, very interesting. 2023 seems likely. I don't think he's going to make the opening day roster, but I think he will be in the big leagues at some point to play a role for the Mets team that should be trying to win a World Series. I think that's what seems likely. I think that's what should happen. And I think he'll deserve that spot. In 2024 opening day, he will be the Mets starting catcher on opening day, catching either Jacob deGrom or Max Scherzer. Bright future ahead for the Mets at the catcher spot. They're not going to have to worry about that anymore after the whole questions of them trading for Wilson Contreras or Christian Vasquez at this year's trade deadline. They're not going to have to worry about it anymore because they have Fransisco Alvarez. That's going to wrap this thing up. Make sure to check out all the links in the description to Bleacher Brawls website, podcast, Instagram, and Twitter, plus all the crew's Twitters. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when we upload the Prospect Pipeline videos every Wednesday. And we have videos every day, Monday through Friday, so stay tuned for those. Thanks for tuning in to Bleacher Brawls. Make sure to check out all our social media, our website, where we're writing a bunch of columns. Make sure to check out our Twitter. We do a bunch of Twitter spaces over there, so check those out. You've been watching Bleacher Brawls. My name is Derek. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.